Michelle Bishop, NDRN's Voting Rights Specialist.
Hi, everyone. Thanks for tuning in to PAVA IRL, or In Real Life, the blog that strives to show you what PAVA priorities and practices look like in the real world. Today, I'm here at NDRN with Rachel Rodriguez, who's here from Madison, Wisconsin, where she's a certified municipal clerk, who's here to show us a Braille ballot that their blind and low vision voters can use to be able to cast their votes privately and independently. Thanks for joining us here, Rachel. We're happy to have you. So tell me a little bit about the Braille ballot project. Is this something that's available all over the state of Wisconsin, or is it specific to Madison?
I don't think it's specific to Madison. At the same time, I don't think it's available throughout the state. The state of Wisconsin has over 1,800 election administrators, some in very small municipalities. However, if there is a voter in Wisconsin that indicates that their clerk says that there's no Braille ballot available, they may wish to reach out to the Wisconsin Elections Commission, and there may be other resources available, and we can help facilitate that.
So do you know, is anyone else, it's anywhere else in the country doing something like this? Or does Wisconsin really have the only Braille ballot project?
I'm not aware of anywhere else in the country that's doing it. Granted, I would probably assume that there would be. I think at this point, though, however, Madison is the only one that actually issues any Braille ballots to voters.
So tell me a little bit more about the Braille ballot itself. If I'm a voter who's interested in voting that way, do I have to vote absentee? Can I go to my polling place? How do I request one?
Yeah, if a voter is interested in voting a Braille ballot, they would have to notify our office beforehand. They could vote absentee. They could vote at the polling place. We ask that they notify our office beforehand, though, if they're voting at the polling place, so that we can make sure that that ballot is available to them at the polling place. It's not something that we stock for every polling place as a standard.
That makes sense. You don't necessarily want to have to guess how many to print, and I can't imagine it's particularly cost or time effective to print a whole lot of Braille ballots. That makes a lot of sense to me. So do you currently have any voters who are using the Braille ballot?
We currently have one voter in the city of Madison who votes using a Braille ballot, and that voter chooses to vote absentee.
Okay, so do you have anything in place to help protect that voter's privacy? If we have one ballot that comes in Braille, how do we make sure that that ballot isn't necessarily distinguishable from all our other voters?
All absentee ballots, whether you're voting a Braille ballot or you're voting a regular ballot, come to the polling place in an envelope. That envelope has the voter's name on it. But once the poll workers have checked that voter into the poll book and identified them, they open up the envelope, and the ballot and the envelope are immediately separated, so that when the ballots are actually being processed, that those poll workers no longer have any idea who may have voted that ballot.
And how does it work if I call ahead and ask to use a Braille ballot at the polls? How does that get counted if our poll workers don't necessarily read Braille, which I'm assuming is a tall order for a poll worker?
So if they're voting at the polling place, the voter would not be able to put a Braille ballot through our optical scanning machines. Obviously, that machine isn't going to read a Braille ballot. But our Braille ballots have on them stickers, pre-printed stickers that the poll workers can read that would indicate that voter's choice. And then those poll workers would remake that ballot, that Braille ballot, onto a ballot that could be fed through that optical scan machine at a later time.
Great, let's take a look at the ballot.
So I brought a sample absentee ballot so that you can see what the Braille ballot would look like for a voter who is voting absentee. It just comes in a plain manila envelope, a large manila envelope. And then inside, you have instructions. Those are given to all voters, whether they're voting a Braille ballot or a regular absentee ballot. The ballot itself. And then there's also an envelope to return the ballot back to our office. And the envelope in the state of Wisconsin is required to have what we call an absentee certificate on it, where the elector has to sign and then they have to have a witness sign. So once a voter has voted their ballot, if they're doing it absentee, they would stick their ballot back in the envelope and then mail it back to our office, where it gets counted at the polling place on election day. Ballot itself, this is a sample ballot for Wisconsin's February spring primary. There's only one race on the ballot for this election for Supreme Court. So up at the top, there's just some generic information that's required to be on all ballots. It says things like official ballot for state of Wisconsin, city of Madison. In this middle section here are instructions on how to mark the ballot. And then down here we have the one race that we have on our ballot. A voter who is fluent in Braille obviously is just going to be reading the Braille, but we have these stickers next to the candidate names for our poll workers. So what a voter would do when they got this ballot is that they would connect these 4 dots that are next to each candidate. They could use any writing instrument because this ballot isn't going to be fed through the optical scan machine. So for instance, if I wanted to vote for Rebecca Dallett, I would just connect these dots. And then I could stick the ballot back in the envelope, sign the required signatures, and pop it in the mail. When this gets to the polling place on election day, the poll workers are going to take the ballot out of that envelope, and then they can see now that this voter has marked next to Rebecca Dallett, because we have these stickers here. They would take this ballot and they would mark on a regular ballot the selections that this voter has made and then feed that ballot through the tabulator so that all of our ballots and our votes can be counted on the optical scan machine and none of them have to be hand counted.
Rachel, thanks so much for coming and showing us your Braille ballot today. If any of our viewers have some follow-up questions, how can they get in touch with you?
Sure. The easiest way is you can get in touch with us through our website, which is www.cityofmadison.com/election. Otherwise, you can email us at voting@cityofmadison.com, or our phone number is 608-266-4601.
Great. Well, thank you so much for coming today. Thank you to the City of Madison for helping us out, and thank all of you for tuning in today.